welcome to another episode of Cafe Chronicles. Thanks for tuning in. Thought I'd bring you guys on a little bit of a ride with me. Also, I have a little bit of an announcement that I've been pretty excited about that I wanted to share with you guys as well. I figured what better way to do it than on the cafe racer we built. It's been a bit of a process starting to get my motorcycle license again, starting to kind of get all that stuff back and ready, and also too, you know, when I rode a motorcycle when I was young, you know, when you're 19, you hop on a motorcycle, you really don't know much about it and you just kind of go. But I think learning to ride again at 38, I think it's been a completely different kind of process for me, and I've taken a far more, I think, technical approach to learning to ride in a motorcycle again, and a far more technical approach at like figuring out like the safety kind of behind it, how to be safe, how to be careful on the roads, things like emergency braking and techniques as well, like counter steering and trail braking, and things that when I was young, you don't really kind of think about that stuff and you don't care about it, you know. And I think too, the appreciation of starting to ride again on an old machine too, it gives you you got to be careful on it and not ride it too hard and not trust it too much in certain senses too, and in its capabilities. And I think on a nice new sports bike, I think I'd be inclined to trust its ability a lot more. Just saw that kid back there with their phone up, looked like they were taking a picture. I think gone are the days when a kid would take a photograph of somebody on a motorcycle. It's probably more likely right now that they are catching a Pokemon in some virtual landscape of augmented reality. Hopefully this sofa doesn't come off here on the way up the hill and kill us. That'd be great. It's funny how when you're in a truck, I have a truck, you tie things in the back and you think, it'll be fine, or you tie something down and you're like, it's good enough, it's not going anywhere. When you're behind a truck in a motorcycle, you're hoping that person took a little extra time and said, yeah, I'm gonna tie this down real well. Now I find myself, if I'm carrying something in the back of the truck, knowing that there's motorcyclists behind, you kind of have a little bit more empathy, I think, don't you? So I think it would be a cool idea if everybody who was going to get their car license had to ride a year on a motorcycle. I think there'd probably be a lot less motorcycle accidents if everybody had to drive or ride a motorcycle for a year. I think the same as in Ireland, most people they learn how to drive a standard, so a manual car, whereas I find in Canada most people learn how to drive a car in an automatic, and it's a completely different beast. There's a completely different way to think about things, and I think understanding potentially that you could stall the vehicle while pulling out onto a main road gives you a little bit more, let's say, makes you a little bit more humble, makes you a little bit take a little bit more into account the gravity of the situation when you're making a turn or trying to pull out quickly. In an automatic car, you're confident that the car is not going to cut out and you just kind of hit the gas and you go. In a standard car, you gotta tease the clutch out and get up through the gears all while turning and signaling, and you know, so you're less likely to take those chances. Whereas I see in countries that don't have that same, you know, that have a lot more let's say automatic cars, I think people don't have that same kind of let's say understanding maybe. And I don't know if that's a real common thing in just Canada, or maybe it's only in like kind of urban parts of Canada, I don't know. But I feel like 90% or 95% of cars in Canada are automatic, you know. It'd be a pretty cool concept if one, in order to get a license you had to do your test in a standard car, a manual transmission, manual shift, and also if you had to ride a motorcycle for a year. I think it would make people a lot better drivers. Oh, more stuff to fall off and kill us. But as I said a little bit earlier on, I've got a little bit of an announcement I wanted to share with you guys. The build series went so well, and when I say the build series, I mean the build, I don't mean the video series. The video series, I suppose, what I liked about doing the video series was I had a lot of, I would say, support and help from you guys watching the videos. I had inspiration from you guys watching the videos. You know, there was times where I was, you know, I'm sure you guys feel it too, if you're like, you're in a build, sometimes you can be just really finding it hard to find the energy to get back up and you know, keep rocking on with a build and keep moving forward, especially over the winter. You know, you can't even get out and enjoy the bike. Sometimes like you're at such an early stage in a build, it feels like it's just never gonna happen, and it can be very easy to just give up and just say, I'll watch some TV instead, or I'll have a beer. So you know, the build series has been great for motivating me, and you know, there's been times where I've just haven't felt like it, and then one of you guys had posted a comment on one of the previous videos saying, hey, really enjoying the build, and it's inspiring me to start or to get going back on a project that a sleeper project or something like that. And those kind of comments, man, they really motivate. So, you know, a big thank you for that kind of thing. Really appreciate that. And I felt too that I wasn't building this bike on my own. You know, I kind of felt like there was at times a little bit of a team of us, you know, doing it. So I really appreciate that. I've learned so much about motorcycles, and I think I've learned to love them even more. I know I said at the start of this whole build series that, you know, I was really enjoying getting some enthusiasm back for riding, because I'd kind of lost it. You know, I hadn't been on a bike in years, and you know, I kind of had kind of lost a little bit of the spirit of you know, kind of why I rode in the first place. You know, so doing this was 10 times better for me than just going out and buying some nice sports bike, you know. So that all being said, what's the announcement? The announcement is I'm gonna do another build. It's not something that I had planned from the start, and I kind of thought I'll do one and I'll have my Cafe Racer and I'll leave it at that. Then we're good, you know. But guess what? No, we're not good. I think I've got an itch. And it's an itch that needs scratching, you know. Basically what I'll tell you about it right now is that the whole idea behind the build is that it is it's a very different build to this one. One, it's a different style of motorcycle, it's a different bike. It's around the same tenure, you know. It's a late 70s, early 80s, I think could be a 1980 motorcycle. Japanese motorcycle. And the idea is to do a sort of a brat style on it as well. But the concept's going to be a little bit different this time. I think now this time I could do it a hell of a lot faster, you know. I think I could, like last time I was on a large learning curve trying to figure things out. Now I just have a way better understanding, and I think I could do it a lot quicker. The other thing is too, I've seen a lot of like cafe racers on a budget on TV, on YouTube, and some of them are absolutely monsters. They're horrible, disastrous death machines that nobody should ride. And you know, people do crazy things on them, like duct taping things, and you know, they do stuff that you shouldn't do, you know. They use Bondo instead of weld, and they use, you know, all sorts of craziness, you know. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to do a build on a budget, really to show that you can build a really nice, stable, reliable cafe racer, and you can do so on a budget. With every decision that we make, you know, obviously having a reliable, safe bike will be our priority, but you know, the other thing will be to try and do so without spending an arm and a leg, you know. So I'd like to take you guys on that journey, and of course I've never done it, so who knows, you know, what it's going to look like. It's going to mean taking over more of the scope of the build that we left out in the past, such as painting and things like that. You know, even the seat, you know, maybe we'll make a custom seat ourselves, you know. So certain things like that are going to be different. I wanted to share that with you guys, and let you know what's going on. Like I said, I will do at some stage a little bit of a kind of a recap on this project on the CB750, and give you guys an idea of kind of, you know, the good, the bad and the ugly, let's put it that way. What I do again, what I wouldn't do again, you know, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to have a little bit of a special guest on this one. You might have mentioned, you might have remembered from the first season that I mentioned my buddy Dan, my neighbour Dan. You know, that I had helped Dan to go pick up a motorcycle back a while back, you know. He kind of tinkered with the bike a little bit, but he didn't get stuck into it. He had wanted to get stuck into building a cafe, but life kind of came along, as it does, and you know, it got in the way, and you know, he had other projects come up in bits and pieces, so he didn't end up kind of getting stuck into it. So he's been kind of coming over back and forth, watching me, what I've been doing with my bike, and the two of us over a few beers, we kind of said, listen, you know, how about we make season 2 on your bike, you know. So and I kind of told him what I was thinking about building a bike on a budget, and yeah, he loved the idea, and I think you're going to like Dan. He's a cool guy. Dan has a background in mechanical, and he's kind of that engineering kind of a mind type, and he's done some really cool stuff. He has a little old MR2 that he's been working on for ages, and he's done lots of different work on it, and even down to building his own custom fuel injection system for it, and it's really kind of cool stuff. So I think you're gonna like him. I think you're gonna like the ideas that he has, and he's got a really nice vision for the bike, and I'll share that with you guys, and show you kind of what he's looking at and what that's gonna be, you know. So it's going to be fun. We're going to have fun with it, you know. So I hope that you guys can join us along the way, and, you know, have some fun and build some cool motorcycles. Thanks for tuning in. Just a short little one tonight. Like I said, I wanted to bring you guys on a little bit of a ride with me. I wanted to make the announcement, tell you guys I've been excited for a while, been wanting to tell you guys for a while. So I'm excited to announce that season 2 is going to be a cafe racer on a budget, and I hope you guys are going to love it as much as I will. Thanks a lot for tuning in. You guys stay safe out there, and I'll see you soon.